What we have here is an original Royal Blue chassis that I was mailed for modifications. We're going to cut it. We're going to cut a slot in it right there for the smoke gear. But before I did that, I wanted to check these fields out. I've got them hooked up to the amp meter right now, and they're just bouncing all over the place. As you can see, the armature's not shimmed properly. There's a lot going on down there, a lot of action, you see it. And we're jumping between 0 and 16 amps, which is pretty much impossible. I don't think this thing can put out that much. I don't know what's going on, frankly. I could try to shim it. Well, I'm going to have to shim it anyway if I'm going to use it, right? Probably am going to use that armature. I usually use that armature. But what I thought I could do is just get a little run on this and see what it sits at when I load it up. And you can see it'll go up to 9, but it comes back down. So I'm not sure what's going on. Nothing's really getting warm. Oh, the fields are a little warm, but they're not really warm. So if you load it up, make it work for a living. The fields don't get warm, but the brushes do. So what I thought I would do is switch out just the fields from the AC, and I'm running AC off the transformer. And I could run off the transformer with the board if I choose to. And let's see what happens. See what I can get with amp draw in DC that way, and how that compares and how it might run. Really difficult to tell. It's a very smooth running chassis. It's for as old as it is, it's pretty darn clean. And there's not gum, you know, and it's lubed a little bit. It's not too bad. So let's see how it goes. I'll try to pause this and then come back with the other. Well, we're in luck. I was able to make the swap to this is an old one used a lot for testing and whatnot. And I'm just doing the amps thing again. Same exact everything. I did put a shim in here. I didn't lubricate it. I wish I had now. Maybe I can now. See if that settles down. It runs quite smooth, actually. So we're still seeing it's bouncing around 11 something. I don't understand. This is an old meter, but it is on the amp side. It's on the 10 amp side. It's on the AC side, reading the 10 amps. I don't know. But one thing I wanted to kind of, if I can illustrate, was I didn't do the low speed test, but this thing runs at 10%. 10%. Now, I don't know. No, it doesn't have any power, but the motor turns at 10%. I should have tested it with the other ones, but I didn't. In any case, I think you can tell from the little lag that I get that this thing is amp limited. My other guy can go up to 5 amps, and if I don't limit the amps, this thing will just sound like a Ferrari Formula One racing engine. But right now, I can stop it. I don't want to, but I can. But it doesn't load up on the amps anywhere near what it did. It's really hard to tell much difference, really. But I can tell you, lead fell off, that's enough. I can tell you the response on the track is a lot better. When we add other things when we do this thing, right? We have a tender with all-wheel pickup, so you got every wheel pulling power. You don't have that lag and switches and dirty track and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things. Plus we do the digital stuff. It just works better. The DC allows you to do pulse width modulation, which you'll be seeing in a few months. We have this test system up and running, but a lot of refinement. It needs a lot of refinement. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you. All I did was put in a shim and change the fields. Now, is it running better? I don't know. It seems to run, frankly, about the same. But of course, that's through this transformer, and that's what it should do. The only thing I'm doing is conditioning the power by running it through the power distribution, which includes a rectifier. I'm going from AC to DC voltage because this is DC only. It won't do AC. Things are warm, but they're not hot. They're not as hot as they were when it was on the other piece. And it seems to pull. It'll pull hard. Well, I don't know what I expected. I thought I'd see something, but I don't really see anything. I have to be honest. Other than that big glob, that big thing is not there. I mean, that's a lot of metal and wire and little magnets. It's gone. Plus, it gives us room to do other things, put in electronics in there and offer other pieces. So when I put the gear in here, I'll have a place to put my chuff and puff gear. And we're going to get the smoke put on like we did this guy, the 2014. And it's probably going to be a very similar project. I think I'm going to redesign this board here to make it something a little more professional looking and functional. All of this will probably be very, very similar. I'm going to have to build a tender for it. Leon built my tender. Now I have to build the tender for this using his design. We're okay. He's okay with that. It's all right. Okay, now, you know, I mentioned one time I had trouble with my drill and I had cracked the housing, and I'm a little sketchy on that. My table is working pretty good. I want to get into the x-axis and tighten it up. But what I've done in order to get a workaround quickly is I've ordered a drill press, a small drill press. It's a very small one. And I will mount the table on that drill press and probably do the drilling manually, but they have the X and Y to do the shape, and I'll just stand there and do that. Because I need to get these things done. I can't count. This thing is my first one ever. It's a little flimsy, and I've got a better idea. I reprinted that part, but rather than reprint, what I have seen others have, and I think is a better approach, is if I take this shape and I split it down the back and I give it two big out tabs and put a bolt through there and then have a gap all the way down, and then I clamp this pipe here instead of pushing on it against this, then all the forces are trying to pull this out, and it did. I'm just going to clamp it, and that'll lock it in, and then I'll still have my X and Y. But that is going to take me some time. I got to go back. I got to get this part. I got to delete this. I got to create the slot, and then I got to add the piece for the bolts to go across, and it's going to take more time. Monday, the drill will get here. I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to put this table on it, and we're going to continue to work on the chassis probably Tuesday or Wednesday. So don't get too upset. I'm fixing it, and we'll be machining chassis soon. I've got a few laying around that I need to work on. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. That's a existing Royal Blue, getting the fields and running with the dirty brushes, old springs, and shim the armature. Just grabbed a shim that I had laying there, stuffed it in there. Not bad. It should be a good one. Not worried. The bearings, the bushings and the wheels feel good, so I'm not going to monkey with them. This one, the bushings were shot, so I had to monkey with them, and I thought, well, while I'm there, I'm going to experiment. Okay. All right, that's it. Later.